In our Law and Justice lead, another shocking turn in the case of Sean Diddy Combs. Prosecutors, as you know, say that the music mogul committed some unspeakable acts. And now they're saying that he's engaging in witness tampering from behind bars.
What does it take to make one of America's toughest lawyers walk away from a case? Not just any case, but one involving a music mogul, a federal indictment, and a legal storm, unlike anything we've seen in hip-hop history. Anthony Rico, the man who defended suspects in terrorist attacks and major police shootings, just stepped away from representing Sean Diddy Combs. No explanation, no press conference, just a quiet motion filed in a New York courtroom. But as wild as that is, it's only the beginning, because when you dig a little deeper, things start to unravel fast. And what you find? Rumors of sorcery, a legal team tearing itself apart, and a man once seen as untouchable, now on trial for the darkest allegations imaginable. This isn't just another celebrity scandal. It's a collapse happening in real time, and it might just take down one of the most powerful figures in entertainment. Let's start with the basics. Back in September 2024, federal authorities charged Diddy with running a criminal enterprise right through the very businesses that made him famous. The indictment alleges he used his power, his influence, and his money to control and exploit women, hiding behind a public persona while building something far darker behind the scenes. We're talking multiple counts: conspiracy, trafficking, financial crimes, and the part that made headlines around the world, the so-called freak-off parties. Private gatherings where Diddy allegedly orchestrated scenarios that blurred every line of consent, morality, and legality. Since his arrest, he's been held in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center. No bail, no lavish mansion under house arrest, just a cell. And the clock is ticking. His trial is set for May 5th, 2025. But the trial isn't the only battle Diddy's fighting, because inside his own legal team, things were falling apart. So who is the man that just bailed on this case? Anthony C. Rico isn't some flashy TV lawyer. He's a heavyweight, Harlem-born, just like Diddy. A seasoned defense attorney with a resume that would make most prosecutors nervous. He earned his political science degree from Adelphi University in 1978, then went on to get his law degree from Northeastern in '81. Since then, Rico has been in the trenches, handling criminal defense cases that made national news. Federal racketeering, conspiracy, and yes, terrorism. This man was lead counsel in 45 federal death penalty cases. He defended clients involved in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. He worked on the infamous United States versus Osama bin Laden case. He defended Detective Giscardus Nora after the shooting death of Sean Bell in 2006. This is a man who steps into the legal fire and usually walks out untouched. So when he says, "I can't work with Diddy," you know something serious is going on. Rico didn't hold a press conference. He didn't leak anything to TMZ. He simply filed a motion in federal court saying that, under no circumstances, can he continue representing Sean Combs. He gave no detailed explanation, just a vague reference to attorney-client privilege and ethical reasons for withdrawal. In legal terms, this was clean, clinical, but the timing couldn't have been worse. A federal trial weeks away, accusations flying from all angles, and now one of the most experienced lawyers in America says, "I'm out." That silence, it spoke volumes, and the rumors started flying immediately. Let's talk about the internet. The second news of Rico's exit hit, social media went into full-on meltdown mode. TikTok, Reddit, X, every platform was buzzing.
Diddy's lawyer trying to quit. His lawyer's name, I might be mispronouncing it, but I'm pretty sure it's Anthony Rico, which is one of the most insane last names to have while not wanting to represent Diddy at all. That would be like your lawyer's name being Danny Murder, and he's like, "I can't be next to you though." That's wild. That.
With wild, unfiltered chaos. One TikTok user at Taylor EAS dropped a video that blew up, nearly 1 million views. In the clip, they claimed that Rico had quit because Diddy was being charged with necromancy.
Do you know how bad of a person you have to be if your lawyer, who was literally Osama bin Laden's lawyer, someone who's been practicing his entire life to defend criminals, quits? And then when the public asks, "Hey, why did you quit this case?" the lawyer says, "I quit because of necromancy." This is the same lawyer who represented a literal terrorist, somebody who at one point was probably the most notorious person on the entire planet. And that same lawyer is looking at P. Diddy's case and saying, I can't do it. You have to be like absurd level of just terrible person.
It was sensational, viral, and completely unconfirmed, but it didn't matter. The narrative was out there, and people were eating it up. But let's cut through the noise and look at what actually might have happened behind closed doors. Reports began surfacing that the real issue wasn't witchcraft, it was war, a power struggle inside Diddy's legal team. Rico had been clashing with the lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo. Rico believed they needed more time to prepare, that their defense strategy wasn't solid, that rushing into a federal trial without all the pieces in place would be a disaster. Agnifilo, on the other hand, was all in on sticking to the schedule. He'd filed motions to dismiss parts of the indictment, especially Count 3, tied to the Mann Act and the so-called freak-off allegations. He insisted everything was consensual, that there was no trafficking, that they could win this case and win it now. But Rico didn't agree, and that disagreement turned into something deeper. TMZ reported that these two had been at odds for months, disagreeing over evidence, strategy, tone. And eventually Rico had enough. Despite the chaos, Diddy's team has had a few minor victories. In February, an anonymous woman, Jane Doe, filed to dismiss her civil suit against Diddy and Jay-Z. The case was tossed with prejudice, meaning it can't be refiled. Diddy's team issued a statement calling the lawsuit baseless, claiming it proved that the accusations against him were built on media headlines, not legal merit. But let's not pretend that ends anything, because over 30 individuals have filed civil lawsuits against Diddy, and more are coming. Attorney Tony Busby, who represents several accusers, has publicly stated he's preparing to file more than 10 additional lawsuits, all before March 1st, thanks to a New York law that temporarily lifted the statute of limitations. With Rico gone, Diddy's legal team is down to 5 attorneys, and sure, some of them are still heavy hitters, but that kind of loss, right before trial, can shake a defense strategy to its core. On X, people are questioning whether Diddy even has the money left to pay this army of lawyers. Some say it's all falling apart. Others think he'll survive it the way celebrities always seem to. But one user said something that hit different. If the guy who defended bin Laden quits on you, you might be worse than we thought. That's not legal analysis, but it is a vibe a lot of people are starting to share. And remember, this trial is just the beginning. Win or lose in court, Diddy's legacy is already cracked. The allegations are out there. The lawsuits keep coming. The internet won't forget. And now, one of the most elite defense attorneys in the country wants nothing to do with him. What happens next? We'll find out in May. But if this is the calm before the storm, you better believe the storm is going to be massive. So, what do you think? Is Rico's exit a sign that Diddy's case is imploding? Or just a bump in a high-stakes trial? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you thought this was wild, just wait, because this saga, it's nowhere near over.